Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am here in the parking lot of the post office. I had one eBay package and I was glad because I thought that I wanted to do a car vlog today. I have a weird thing happening to my radio. I'll explain that in a second. I wanted to do a car vlog today because I have two topics that I want to talk about, and both of them could be lengthy, so I'm going to try really hard to keep it not too long. Perfect day for a car vlog. There's no sunshine, so I can see my screen, and it's not too hot, but it is hot enough that I have the AC on. Can't open the windows, it would be too noisy, but I have the AC on, but I don't have to have it blasting, so I think we're going to be fine. Yeah, my radio, oh my goodness. Yeah, I turned around because one time I was parked like where I usually park at the post office, and somebody was backing up and almost hit me, so I said I'm not gonna park there for any length of time. So I spun around and I'm parked facing the road. My radio starts acting up and it makes a little clicky noise, and then after that I can't change the channels, I can't turn the radio on or off, I cannot turn the volume up or down, and then maybe 20 minutes later, I can do those things, and then again, I can't. Sometimes if I turn the car off and then turn it back on, it'll start working. Sometimes it doesn't. So it's just really weird. And I have to remember, like, if I'm driving, I got to remember to keep it on a station that I like and at a volume I can tolerate, for long term, because I might be stuck with that volume for a long time because I can't turn it back down, can't shut it or anything. And if I'm on the highway, I don't want to pull over to turn off my car and hope the radio works after that. So it's just it's weird, but it's not the radio itself. There's something's not working right. Okay, I'm going to talk to you guys first about Facebook because I haven't had a chance to say it on a video, how that all got resolved. And then the second thing is about what happened to me at an AA meeting last night. And I was crushed and quite devastated, and I am, a little bit over it. I'm not letting it completely destroy me like I could have, but I'm very sad about it. So I'll get to that after. Facebook, I told you guys, I can't remember, but it was like a period of 48 hours that I could not log into my Facebook. Now, I know I did a little bit of a video, and I never said that I was hacked or that I thought I was hacked. I just could not log in. And people were telling me, about, oh, this hack, and you might have got, it wasn't anything like that. I knew I couldn't log in. I could see my Facebook profile and page and group. I just could not log in, and I confirmed by others that they could see my stuff. And in my email, I was getting emails saying that I have this many notices on Facebook, things like that. So I knew people were leaving comments or liking things or whatever, and I had no control. When I say I could not log in, I could not because I have two-step factor thing, the authorization, that after you go through the steps, now you have to prove that you got this other code for the two-step thing. So it's two steps, logging in, and then another precaution that you have to prove you can supply the info, because you need the two steps to be able to actually get in. And I explained that I still had it going to my old phone number, which I do not have. It's a phone that, and people said, you didn't have to change phone numbers. Yes, because what happened is my phone had fallen in a toilet, and and it didn't work anymore. So I went to Walmart, and a woman helped me and set me up and did something with the SIMS card. I can't remember. It's a while ago. It was either at the end of last year or the beginning of this year. This is 2024. So it was a while ago, but I did something, and then everything was working, and then all of a sudden the phone wasn't working anymore. And I went back, and she said, oh, you got to call Straight Talk for that, this and this and that. I called Straight Talk. I had been with Straight Talk for years. They had zero record of me ever existing with them. But the person explained to me that if I switched SIM cards or whatever, they would just assume that I was done with them, so they canceled my account. So I had no more phone service. And even if I re-signed up with them, I was not going to be able to get that phone number back. So I was like, well, fuck this. If I have to get a different number, I'm getting different service, because you guys just fucked me over. I mean, I was really, really upset about that. And I can't remember all the details, but trust me when I say I did everything I possibly could. I even called them again, got a different customer service. I'm like, you can't tell me that for like 8+ years, you have no record of me being your customer ever. No. Nobody could show me anything. So I ended up getting a different provider, and I had to have a different number. So that's why I changed numbers. And in Facebook, yes, I did change my number in Facebook to the new number. I was sure that I had, and I did. But there's a separate place in Facebook for the 2-step factor. It wasn't changed there. So when I would go through all the steps, and I did all the steps that said, if you have no access to your phone number, because everybody was continuing to tell me, this is what you need to do, that step. I did that repeatedly. That would have got me into the first step. And I did, and all that was working. But now, when it says now for your 2-step factor, we're sending a code to the old number. So it was all the 2-step thing that screwed me up. So when I put it out there in a video, I didn't think anybody could have any kind of an idea that I hadn't already tried. And somebody said, did you try calling your old number? But I thought, no, I'm not even going to bother. But when that person said it, and then others did afterward, I can't remember that first person, but I know I thanked that person in the comments. You know, I was at Tony's at that point, and I said, oh, I should try. He said, well, of course, try. And I called it, and it rang maybe 4 or 5 times, and then it went to voicemail. It did not leave a message. I thought I'll text. And I texted, and I said, basically, I used to have this number. I wanted that right at the beginning, and so that they would continue reading. And I asked them, if there's anybody who's reading this text, could you please at least get back to me so we could, you know, maybe see if you'd be willing to help me, because some people would think that's scammy, or they don't want to help me to break into somebody else's account. But I don't know exactly. Let me look. Let me see what I worded. Hang on a minute. God, I wrote this guy a book. I have since learned that it's a 40-year-old man in Saco, Maine, who had my number, and his name is Jason. And I'm going to give Jason lots of shout-outs in this video. Yeah, I wrote a lot. But yeah, I just said, I used to have this number. I'm trying to get into my Facebook account. I guess I never changed to my new number. It's still pointing to this number. Someone told me to call my old number. And so I'm just explaining, and I was like, if you search my name on YouTube, you will see that it's real. And then I said a couple more things, and then when I sent that, I thought, I'm going to actually send him the video that I had done saying, you know, how I could not get into Facebook. So I sent him that video and, you know, said, look, you'll see that I'm for real and all that. And I could not believe that. Let me see how long I had to wait. It wasn't long. And he replied, how come I lost that now? 2:39, and he replied at 3:17. He said, hey, sure, I can help. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe there's someone with my old number. And he gives me a code, because the other thing is, I knew if somebody was there with my number that they were getting all these prompts for this code for like over 2, I think it was over 2 days, because I said here, I've been trying for almost 3 days. So I thought they could have just blocked, and now he wouldn't be getting any codes, and I wouldn't be able to get him, and probably not know how to unblock. And then the other thing is, it could have just been somebody who doesn't really know anything about phones much, like my sister. She said if I would have got something like that, she goes, I would have been so scared, you know, I would have never replied, and you know, stuff like that. So he gives me a code, and I said, yeah, those codes are old. So I said, if you can stay by your phone for just a few, I will try to go through the process right now. I hope so much that this can work. I'll text you as soon as I'm done going through the steps. And he said, of course. And then he got the code, and he gave me the code. And I said, we crossed, and I said, I'm sending you the code, but I had already got it. And then I said, I think I'll need another code for the 2-step thing. He's like, okay. So I said, I got your code and I got it, but hang with me for 1 more minute so I can make sure. He's like, that's awesome, dear. I'm glad I could help. Now, when he said, that's awesome, dear, I thought that this could be like an older lady. I am in. I cannot thank you enough. You are my new best friend. I can't wait to have a video and just say that you were so nice and that you helped me. You not only made my day, but you saved my career. Seriously, I cannot thank you enough. I'm crying right now. And I had tears. I did like a happy dance. Tony was in the bathroom and I'm like screaming and I had tears in my eyes. And then he says, I'm watching your video right now. I'm glad I could help. And yes, I have seen your name in a couple of places. I have used the phone number like at Walgreens, the Telegram app. But yeah, glad I could help. My name is Jason, by the way. And again, thank you for letting me know your name and that you're a man. I was going to say you were a woman because you called me dear. I thought it was a little old lady. Nice to meet you, Jason. I'll give you a first name shout out in my next video. Thank you, Jason. You have no clue. And so many people thanked him too. Everybody was so happy for me. And again, he saved my career because my Facebook is over 20 years old and I have 5,000 friends. On my profile, you're limited to 5,000. It drops down sometimes. So there's always people waiting to get in, so I let somebody else in right away. And over 6,000 members of my group and 11.3, I thought it was 11.6, but 11.3 followers on my Facebook page. And people said, you could have just started over. No, you can't build that. I don't even have the strength or desire to build that up again. I would have gotten another account just so I can see who's playing where on the weekends, because that's how I get my info on Facebook. But it would have killed me to know that my photos, everything, that I could never get into my account. Oh. Anyway, so I explained that to him about my account. And he's like, I'm so happy for you. I'm glad we'll be happy. 4th of July, my friend. And yep, a man of 40 years old living in Saco, Maine. And so we chatted a little bit more, and I told him that, that I was from Sanford and stuff like that. And it's just funny how things happen. So I'm in, and I changed the 2-step thing. And, yeah, I'm going to look into, finding a way to not ever have to go through this again. But even that, look, if I lost this, forgot it somewhere, stole it, I would have no access to this either. And I don't think anybody would have that number right away. It was long enough ago that somebody else had my number now, and I was able to get in that way. So, all right, let's talk about AA now. Do I really want to do this in this video? Can I make it short? I don't know. I love going to AA and by myself. I feel like it's a good, safe place for me. It helps me, not any way in drinking. I'm good with that. I always say that, but it helps me in other ways. And I enjoy it. And I have 2 meetings that I go to, but one in particular that I love, and they have a nightly meeting every night of the week. So I feel like I can always go if I want to. And one night I went 4 nights. I went 3 to that one and 1 to another place, because I do like to have 2 places that I'm familiar with and that they get to know me. So I went, and I go past Tony, it's like from me to Tony is like 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes from Tony's place to where I'm going. And so a lot of times I stop on the way back to see him for a little bit. So we had agreed I'd come over, and I was making chicken wings, and I said, I'll bring you some wings. So we knew after the meeting that I'd be going over. So I already knew I'd see Tony after the meeting. I got in the meeting. Now, a little bit of a backstory. The very first time I went in there alone, I met a woman coming up to me with paper. Oh, hi. You knew? I said, well, I've been here, but it's the first time I come here alone. And she's like, okay, she goes, here, you can read tonight. Now, they have different things that have to be read for every meeting. I have done it in the past at a place that I ended up getting comfortable. I'm not comfortable reading. Not only do I get caught in the words because I'm so nervous with my anxiety, but because I don't really follow what's in the 12 steps and things like that. And I have a hard time saying that if you don't, you know, you have to believe in God to be successful. I don't buy that at all, because you could be successful, and I think it scares some people away. So I'm not comfortable reading because I don't like the message, right? It's very limiting, and AA is not supposed to be about that. All right. The other things that people do is they pass out the coins at the end, and that's like a little just mini celebration if somebody gets a coin for, you know, 90 days sober, 1 day sober, stuff like that. The other thing is you can chair a meeting. You know, you're the head of the meeting, and you have places that you can sign in for that to say you're willing to chair at a future date. That woman hands me the reading material, and I told her, oh, nah, I would be too nervous to read. I won't be reading. And she was a little pushy even that first day. Oh, come on. And I was like, I'm sorry, no, I'm not reading. And then others have asked me too at that same meeting, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not into it. Now, the only requirement to go to AA is that you have a desire to stop drinking. That's it. There's nothing there that says, and you also have to be willing to read shit, and you also have to do a meeting when you're at the level where you can. And we got this coin thing, and we're going to make you feel like an idiot, you know, if you're nervous, because I'm nervous even just talking about it. Right? So all I have to do is have the desire to quit drinking, or the desire, if you quit drinking, to not, you know, you want to not start drinking. That was the first time I met her. Now, after that, tried to get a little bit friendly with her, and I can tell she, you know, kind of is a little standoffish, but that's okay. So we kind of sit at the same table, like I think every time, and we started talking more. And then maybe the week before, the calendar was being passed during the meeting, and I just passed it on. And she said, and I didn't remember this until today, she said, you really need to sign up to do a meeting. And I said, oh no, I probably will never do a meeting, which isn't true. I could do a meeting if I was very comfortable. But she, you know, and she just like, you know, made a face like that. And then last night I go in, and I was early, and the first thing that I notice now, and I noticed it then, I notice what people say and how they act and their expressions. I was making my coffee, and I knew there was only a little bit of creamer left in the powdered creamer. And I said to her, we were the only two in the room at the beginning, and she was there first, and I came in after. And I said, oh, if you could show me where the creamer is, I'll fill this up. And she goes, no, I'll fill it. And that's not anybody's job in particular. Anybody can help. And I said, oh, I don't mind. I said, I'd like to know where it is. I said, I want to get to know things because I like to help in that way. Those are the things I'm comfortable doing. And I didn't say that part to her, but, you know, I'm just telling you guys, I'm comfortable with that. So I said, those are the things that I'm comfortable doing to her. So she goes in, and she's like, no, it's not here. It's not here. She goes, well, it must be locked up, and, you know, somebody will have the key. And I said, okay. So then we sit down, and while we're sitting there, a few people start coming in, and then this nice young man, maybe like 20, comes in. He's new, and, you know, she's like, oh, is this your first meeting? And he said, my first here. He said, only my third ever. And so he started talking, and I could tell he looked really, really nervous, and there was a table beside us, and I said, why don't you just sit right here? You know, we'll take care of you. So I start talking to him, and I suggested the other group that I go to. I said, you could probably try that group too. It's good to be in different groups and different times, you know what I mean? And so you always have a place to go if you want. And I said, they're younger there. I said that you would really get a kick out of it, you know. And I'm like, and there's a lot of swearing because they're all young. I said, well, I swear too, even though I'm not young, you know. So he's laughing and stuff, and he was like, I could tell I was making him feel comfortable and all that. So then, while I'm sitting there talking to him, I see this woman. I hope I didn't say her name. I don't think I said, did I say her name? If there's something cut out and it doesn't make sense, that's because I said her name and I have to cut it out. Because I'm not mentioning where, and I'm not mentioning names. But when I was sitting and talking to this guy, she's pushing the thing with all the chips for the people who earned chips. And you get up and you say this little thing and all and I said, oh my God, no. And, I'm calling her by name at that point. I said, I cannot do that. No, I can't. And she's like, you need to do this. And I said, no. I said, I can't. I said, I'll be so nervous. I said, oh my God, if I feel like I have to do this, I said, I'm going to have to leave. I said, I cannot. I'm like, please, I can't. I said, I'm just not there yet. And I push it back to her, but I'm all like, just please, I'm like begging here, begging for mercy. I'm not upset with her. And when I push it back to her, she pushes it back to me with the sternest look on her face. And she said, you're doing it. And I said, I can't. And I push it back to her and she turns and then she looks at me and she said, if you want to be here, you have to become a trusted servant. I stood up and I let loose. I don't think anybody knows what she was saying to me except for maybe that new kid, but I stood up and they all heard me. I can't remember every word that came out of my mouth, but I know I started with, are you fucking kidding me? And I came across a TikTok today, things fall in front of my eyes when I need them. It makes so much sense when a child has trauma growing up, people with a short fuse. It's usually because you've had a lot of trauma in your childhood where you were not able to make your own decisions and you didn't have the power, the authority to say no to things. So you just had to suffer with them and you were at the mercy of whatever adult was doing shit to you. You had no say. You had no safety net, things like that. So as you get to be older, it's to the point now that you're so sick of all that you went through and that you had no control, that you have a short fuse and it goes off because it's like, you're not gonna fucking do this to me because I've had this done enough and I'm in control now. If I had the chance to do last night over again, I would have tried not to blow up because that ends up escalating and hurts me more than that person. But I blew up. Are you fucking kidding me? I said, a trusted servant? I'm not a trusted servant because I don't want to do the chips. Now, I couldn't get everything out like, this isn't anybody's job. Nobody is forced to do this. They can ask you. And if you say no, they're supposed to say, okay, that's fine. And I said, I cannot believe that I'm going through this now. I said, you know how much I love this place, and now you have ruined it for me. And I was like, fuck you. And I took my coffee cup, threw it in the trash, and I walked out. And as I was going out, somebody said, what happened? And she said, she has to learn, and I couldn't hear anymore after that. I had gone through the door. But that wasn't going to end in a good way for me. She didn't come running and saying, holy shit, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it that way. She meant it. And now she was going to say something like, she has to learn that she has to do her share, or she has to learn that she needs to, participate more. It had to have that kind of an ending. I was bawling my eyes out as soon as that was outside that door, and I was hoping somebody would come back and say, please come here, I want to know what happened, like the chairperson for the night. But nobody came out. And I said, see, I didn't stand my ground there. I could have used that as an opportunity during the talking part when it came to be my turn, that I could have said no one should be made to feel like they have to read or chair a meeting or do this. Nobody should have to feel like they have to do anything. They don't even have to feel like they need to put $1 or whatever they want to put in the basket. All you need to do to be there is you need to have the desire to stop drinking. And there's too many people in these groups who do ruin it for others. All I can think of is that poor guy was talking to me, starting to feel comfortable, laughing with me, and then he has to see this shit? Oh my God. Oh. So I texted Tony right away and I said, I just walked out of AA, I'll explain, or whatever. And I said, I'm on my way. And, so I was crying at Tony's. I was so sad that I lost my group. And, he said, and I agree, I need to go back. But my fear is that they only heard my side, because I was up there, and I don't regret it. I do not regret it. This is supposed to be a safe place for people with issues, alcoholic issues, which means you have all kinds of issues, right? It's not the booze that made us the way we are. It's the way we were that made us drink booze. There's issues, and that, booze was like a Band-Aid, a way to medicate, self-medicate. There's issues, and I should be able to go to an AA meeting and not have somebody push fucking chips at me, telling me that I have to do the chip ceremony at the end 3 times. That's not right. It's not right. And had I not been going to AA before with someone who was teaching me all about AA, I wouldn't have even known. If I had just started going alone, I wouldn't have known that I'm not obligated to do that. But I was taught and told and shown how I was never obligated to do anything. And if I ever looked uncomfortable, that person would say to me, no, don't worry. You don't have to do this. All that stuff. So I learned, and I know I didn't have to be obligated to take on the role of ever reading, of ever chairing, of ever doing the chips. Don't have to go to the potlucks. Can go to the potlucks and eat, not bring food. I would bring food. And here's the thing. If I would have stayed at the meeting and talked, I could have showed what a trusted servant I was. And they just mean that you're trusted, that you're going to not lead people in the wrong way, and that you're going to, follow the rules of AA and, just be helpful if you can. Now, if nobody helps and the place is falling apart and nobody wants to read, well, then they can rethink, or they can say, we'll shut this chapter down. That's all. Nobody is obligated. But I would have loved to have been able to tell everybody that the week before, I went in early and I washed the dishes. I took everything off the big counter in that kitchen and I wiped all the kitchen counters down. I wiped the doors of the cabinets. I wiped the entire outside of the refrigerator. I opened the door to see if there was anything, spills and stuff in there, and wiped whatever was there. The cabinets below the sink, cleaned the sink, had all the dishes in the dish rack. And then I went out and I moved everything. There's a big long table for the coffee setup. I moved whatever I could move, took all the cups. It was on a tray. They were on a tray. Washed the tray, washed that whole table, put the cups back on that dried, clean tray, and put the containers, all those containers, wiped those down, wiped the table down. Noticed that there was a lot of splashes on the wall, washed the wall, and then underneath, there's a space, and there's something, the air conditioning blows there, and there's all kinds of dust bunnies all on the legs. Wiped all of that down, and then noticed that the wall that I couldn't reach had shit on it, and I meant to bring a mop that I could reach that wall to wash that wall too. I wanted to clean that too, but I didn't want to get on my knees and crawl under the table, because I was that I think I've done enough. So I didn't tell anybody that I did that. But I helped. I helped them. But yet she rolled her eyes and insisted that I had to be a trusted servant and I had to do stuff like pass out the chips. But yeah, that's how I blow up. I've always done that. And again, I'm not going to apologize, because I'm in a situation there where I never should have been put into that spot where I was going to lose my mind. Would I do it differently? Yes. I would have probably still had my fit, but I wouldn't have left. I wish so much I would have stayed and had a chance to tell my side of that, and to let the group know that no one should be made to feel like they have to do anything. There's enough people who are willing to do the reading. There really is. Just like there's probably no one who wanted to clean like I did. I'm willing to do that kind of thing. We can work together and say, I'm willing to do this, and if you're willing to do that, then you can do that. And it doesn't mean I wasn't ever going to read. I did read. I could have done the chips. I would have liked to do that. But I just needed more time to get to know people. That's all. I needed to build my confidence up. But I would have loved to do that. But I don't think I'd ever want to do it at that group now. And I can't go to a meeting tonight. I wish so much I could go tonight. I would go right back there, and I would sit at a different table, and I would like to talk to whoever was chairing and say, look, am I still welcome here? Because I had a blow up. See, that's what I'm afraid. I'm afraid that they would say, yeah, you know, you blew up here. We don't know what was going on, but you blew up and left. So, you know, you're not welcome here because of that episode. But nobody came out. Nobody said, hey, what just happened? Come here, Darlene. Let's talk about this, you know? So I hate in the way that they're going to know her side and not my side. But a person who, you know, I hear saying she has to learn, and she was saying it in that tone, she has to learn that. I wish I could hear. I wish I could have just stayed and, you know, listened to see if anybody would have stood up to, you know, for me and said to her, she doesn't have to read, and she doesn't have to do the chips. You can't force that on somebody. I don't know. That's my story. But I will go tomorrow night. Oh shit. Tomorrow night, the other meeting isn't, I'm going to find a meeting for tomorrow night. I need to talk to somebody who understands meeting rules and see, you know, should I go back to that one? I'd be so fucking scared. And my sister even said, somebody, you know, could feel like you just probably left there and you were going to go drink. You know what I mean? Nobody seemed concerned. But, you know, I can be a little scary, I guess. But that's how I felt. And that's how I reacted. And then I cried. And Tony was so sweet. He listened. He, you know, talked about it with me. And, you know, we agreed that it's probably better if I do end up going back there just to have my chance to not ruin this for me. And I know if I went back and I had even a little bit of support, that I would not be bothered that she's there at all. I would feel confident enough now. I've built enough confidence that there are some things that I'm willing to just face and say, okay, I can be here and I can be happy here. I don't care what happened. I'm happy now, and that's all I care about. So I think I need to go back. And I know some of you are going to think that it was awful for me to get up and do that. I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who gets upset and stuff. I'm just the only one that I've seen so far leave. But yeah, shit happens. And I'm emotional when I go there. The minute I'm there, I'm emotional because I feel all the vibes of all us hanging out in this room, and that we all have stories, backstories, and why we drank and how much we drank and how much we damaged in our lives because of that drinking. And I'm so happy to be where I am today. You know, I've come so far from that child and that 300 and almost 50-pound woman who never left the house for 30 years. I've come so far from that. And for me to even be able to go to AA alone was such a big deal to me. And I just can't believe that had to happen. But I am going to get past this. And it's okay if I never go back there. I'll find other groups. There's plenty of groups all over the place. And I don't care if I have to travel further. I don't, because it gives me a reason to get out. You know, some people travel back and forth to work all their lives. I travel, like, from my bed to, you know, 10 feet to another room, you know. So it's okay for me to go out for that kind of work, you know, working on myself. That's how I look at it. So I will find some more groups. But maybe I thought if I find another group and I become friendly with someone, or that somebody that I already know from other groups, because I do know some of these people, and if I could see like maybe one of those other women or somebody from this group and say, can I go back with you, you know, a night that I know you're going to be there, and I will sit with you, and I would feel more comfortable that way. But I don't know how to contact any of these people. So anyway, that's my story. I felt bad. I felt really bad, but I was glad that I woke up not devastated. I'm sad right now, but I'm going to get past it. And it'll have been a good lesson learned. I will be able to, next time, be prepared. If somebody says or does something, I'll have something ready that I can say. You know, I could have gotten up and just went over to her and said, look, there's nothing that says I'm obligated to do this, you know, and I'm going to talk about it in this meeting, that, you know, it's pressure. You know, I wish so much that that young guy would show up at that other meeting that I told him about, so I could see him and know that I didn't scare him off. I mean, that poor kid, you know, it's like here he is having fun with me and we're talking and just, you know, he seemed so comfortable, and then all of a sudden I'm this monster. But he's the only one that saw the whole exchange, you know, so he knew what was going on. And I bet you if I saw him, he's probably more afraid of the fact that he would be forced to do something. It's only his third meeting. Probably nobody has told him you're not going to be forced. He might say, I'm never going back to AA again. I don't want to hand out chips and have to talk, you know? All right. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much. Please be kind. Don't give me a lot of work of having a lot of bad comments out. And Jason from Facebook, thank you so much. See, there are some good people who do really cool things. He took a chance. He could have been letting somebody in, you know, somebody else's account, but I think I had enough proof, right? I mean, he saw my videos and all that, so everything that I was saying was making sense. And, of course, thank you, Tony. He was so sweet to me, and we ended up watching a movie before I went home, and you know, I really am lucky in so many ways. And now I gotta go. I gotta get busy. This is gonna take a long time to upload and edit. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If I do go, or when I go to another meeting, I will let you know what was, you know, what I asked and what I was told. And, you know, I would like to be able to go back to the meeting that I love so much. And I don't care. I'm not gonna let that one person ruin it for me. I feel like, though, that I ruined it for myself now. I feel like I'm just going to be, that's the one that blew up. All right, I got to hang up now. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. I'll be back with more soon. Bye.